Okay, YouTube, this is my last video on quick graphs of linear equations, which we're going to discuss horizontal and vertical lines. These are often lines that are very easy to graph, but very easy to get confused with one another. So we're just going to kind of look at what they are here. We say horizontal lines. We say any line of the form y equals c will be a horizontal line, and it will have a y-intercept of 0, c, where c is some constant. Okay, so this is no variable. We say no variable. This is very important here. Or we could say that it is a constant term. So when we look at graphing something, recall that what you're doing is you're graphing the solutions to that thing. So if I have an equation y equals c, or like f of x equals c, you'll notice that there's no x here. So if I were to make a table of values, say where we say this is x and this is the y value I get when I plug that f into my function, or that x into my function, we say if I were to populate this table with values -2, -1, 0, 1, 2, and say go plug these in for x. The interesting thing is when I go try to find, say, f of -2, this means everywhere in this equation that I see an x, go plug in -2. Like go plug it in. I'm looking at the same one you are. There's no x. So I say, well, what would this equal? What would this c equal if I put in -2 for x? And you say, well, there's no x to put a -2 into, so what did I get? You got c. I mean, you literally get c. So it wouldn't matter what I plug in for x. What you're going to notice here is that I get c, 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 c. And I think it's actually a lot easier to see this in a practical, example here. Not a practical, but we say like a specific example. What if we look at this example now here where we're going to graph it anyways? I say we'll go graph y equals 4.5 or f of x equals 4.5. And if we were to make a table of values, again, the whole point of this is to do this without having to make a table of values here. We say x, y. If I were to go make a table of values down here, we say, oops, and that's supposed to be a -1, sorry. 0, 1, and 2, we say, well, I would get 4.5 when I plug in -2. I'd get 4.5 when I plug in, -1, 4.5, 4.5, 4.5. And so what you're going to see here is that we always get this constant value. And if we were to graph all these points, what you notice is this. We say the point -2, 4.5, that's left 2, up 1, 2, 3, 4.5. That's about right here, ish. And we say -1, 4.5, well, this would be at the same height. And this would be the same height. And so these 4 points, you'll notice, first of all, with the slope of the line that's going through these 4 points, the slope is 0. It doesn't have a positive uphill slope or a negative downhill slope. They would say slope is 0. And this is kind of an important deal that I'm going to tie back into this, but we have a horizontal line. So whenever you have y equals a number, just remember this. It is horizontal. And if you need to remember that it's backwards from what you might consider it, since y goes up and down, a lot of people try to graph this as a vertical line. Think backwards, okay? So now back to this slope is 0 comment. Really quickly, what I want everybody to notice is that this is in slope-intercept form, and the way we know this is because the y is isolated. So what this means is it had a slope. We just didn't write it out. We said the slope is 0. So we could have said that this is a line here. We said its intercept is at 0, c. We can see that up here in this table. We can see that right here in this table, 0, comma, our constant. We can see that here on the graph. This is 0, comma, 4.5. But what I could have told you is we could have just graphed the y-intercept here. We say 4.5, and then we say use the slope, rising 0, run 1. You would get the same line. So it's better to just remember that y equals a constant is a horizontal line. And on the same terms, we can just go ahead and bury this one. Whenever you hear x equals a number, like x equals -3 here, it is also like a vertical line. Okay, so we say this would be a vertical line that if you were to make its table, the interesting thing here is we actually don't care what y is. Y can be anything, which is a weird thing, but we'd say the only way that I'm going to get solutions to this right here is if I plug in an x value of -3. Otherwise, I won't get true statements when I plug in my ordered pairs into here. So we say this could be -2, -1, 0, 1, 2. And if we go graph all these, we say left 3, and we say left 3, 0, left 3 down 1, left 3 down 2, left 3, up 1, left 3 up 2 here. We say we get this vertical line. So we want to label this. We say this would be all the solution pairs to x equals -3, where this one here was all the solution pairs to y equals 4.5. But that is how you very quickly graph horizontal and vertical lines. Just recognize them and then realize that they're kind of backwards of what you would think. Cheers.